Hey folks, welcome back. All right, we're trying to break contact with somebody that is tracking us and we need to disappear. One of the ways you can do it I talked about earlier, which is to get on a hard surface road if you can find one, or something similar to a hard surface road. If you can't find that, the next best thing is a water source and a stream. The good thing about a stream is that it will lose a tracking dog. They will not be able to track you in the water. However, a human will be able to look for signs of scarring and displacement. Essentially, scarring is when you scratch something, when you break something, you take the surface off of it. For instance, a rock covered with moss. If you step on top of it and you take some of the moss off, even a little bit, that's called scarring. If you're walking along with your gear and you're tired and you lean against a tree and you scratch a little bit of the bark, that's called scarring. Displacement is where you actually move something out of its original position. Let's say you're walking along again and the rocks are all smooth and clean on top. It's not got any moss, the sun's been cooking them. But you step on one and you move it a little bit out of position, or you flip it over. Well, the side that was to the ground is going to be darker than the side that's on top. So the surface side where the sun has been hitting is going to be bleached out. The side that has been facing down on the ground is going to be darker. A good tracker will see that. Or they'll look where the rocks were and they'll see a place where there's some darkish colored earth that had something on top of it. Leaves are another thing that you can displace. You walk through leaves, you turn them over, and especially if you move a little bit out of the way, a little bit of a pathway in there, or you scuff your feet walking down the road, you displace the leaves. If you're walking down a dirt trail and you step into the dirt and it pushes a foot imprint, that's called scarring. So essentially you're leaving some sort of a sign. When you get into a stream bed, there's 2 or 3 different kinds of stream bed. One of them is going to be a real muddy stream bottom, and that's going to leave a lot of scarring. That's going to stir up all of this mud and you're going to have all of this sediment flowing downstream. And this is our stream, and we have the stream flowing in this direction from left to right. Another type is big rocks. And the good thing about the big rocks is if they're not covered in moss and you can actually see them when you get in the water, then you have the ability to walk on these without doing any scarring or displacement. If they're smaller though, you're going to do a little displacing, especially if there's moss on there. Now if the water's deep and your people can swim and you can get your gear quickly set up to float, you can get in there and float downstream. They're going to figure out pretty quick if it's deep water that you went downstream though, and unless it's moving fast, they're going to probably run down the stream bed and try to catch you. So you can't stay in the stream bed forever. You're going to have to use it only to break contact, and at some point you're going to want to leave. We'll talk about that in just a second. Streams are a little bit more complicated than a hard surface road, obviously. Again, for the purposes of this, black will be our people and red will be the bad guys. All right, we approach the stream. The first thing we want to do, we learned in the earlier video, we want to try to throw them off. So let's say that we choose to go downstream with the flow. This is good if it's a muddy bottom stream. The reason being, if we go upstream and we cut in and then we turn back, when we're going upstream in a muddy stream, all of this sediment's going to flow down and they're going to walk up to the stream and go, they went that way, because they still see all the dust, basically the dirt that you're stirring up on the bottom. So if it is a muddy bottom stream, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to come up and we're going to make like we are headed upstream. And we're going to make a bit of a mess, and then we're going to head back downstream. Now, if the water's not moving very well and it's real muddy, it may only serve to throw off a tracking dog, and that's about it. People are going to look in the bottom and they're going to see your muddy footprints down there, and so it's going to be pretty obvious that you went in. This may throw the tracking dog off for just a minute. Now, when you come out of the stream, what you definitely want to do is, if you're going to head this way, we want to cut back this way a little bit, and we'll try to find something, some rocks or something else that are going to help us break the footprint pattern, and then we're going to head back in this direction like so. Okay, that's one way. So if the enemy comes up and they see this, and let's say it's a muddy stream bottom, they're going to come this way, and this is only going to buy us time. We're not going to disappear if they're good. They're going to come this way, and they're going to follow along the edge. They're not going to go in the stream. They're going to walk along the edge, and they're going to look. And they're going to say, you know what, I don't see any more mud in the stream. And they're going to come back down this way, and they're going to start looking. Now, they're going to get on both sides of the bank, right? And they're going to go along, and eventually they're going to find where you came out. And first they'll go this way, and what they're trying to do is catch you. So sometimes they will overcommit. Now if they have dogs, sometimes they'll let them go. But if they're just tracking as human beings and they're looking for footprints, they may get a little bewildered when they run into places where you have somewhat disappeared. And there are clover leaf patterns and things like that that we can do. Keep in mind that when you start getting into counter tracking like that, you're also burning time and you're hanging around in the area, and you really want to get away from these guys as quickly as possible. All right, so that's going to be essentially how it goes. It's only going to buy you a little bit of time with a muddy stream bottom. Let's erase these footprints now, the mess that we've made here of our stream. And now let's presume we are going to be looking for we come to a rocky bottomed stream, one that has fair-sized rocks that we're going to have a chance of disappearing from the bad guys with. Let me just put the stream bank back on. All right, so again, here's our stream, direction of water flowing that way. We're going to want to walk, this time we're going to go upstream because we're not worried about leaving sediment. So what we're wanting to do, we're going to make these guys think we went this way. And then once we get into the stream and everybody's feet are clean, we're going to head back this way. But we're going to be very careful not to displace rocks, especially around here, because when they come up to the stream bed, they're going to be looking. And you don't want to turn over some rocks and make it real obvious you went this way, because all of this time you bought going this way is going to be wasted. If you have plenty of time, something that you can do is you can actually get out and you can actually get out and leave the stream bed over on this side a bit, and then go away and then come back and re-enter the stream at this end, if you have the time and if you know that you've got that much distance between them. This will only buy you time again. But everything you do to buy yourself time is going to give you the opportunity to, I'm going to erase that last little bit first. So here's what's going to happen. Essentially, we're going to come up to the stream. We're going to go this way, and then we're going to go counter. We're going to go upstream, and we're going to look for a place. If we're lucky, we'll find maybe a rocky re-entrant or something like that, or another stream bed that we can walk up. If we find something like that, a stream re-entrant coming in, a feeder stream coming into this one, we will take that and go that way, and we'll get away from the dogs and everyone else that way. So we would go this way. But here's what's going to happen. They're going to be following. They're going to come up to the stream, and they're going to stay outside of the stream bed, and they're going to go down a ways until they determine that maybe you've given them the slip. Then they will have to come back the other way. So hopefully, the more that they go past your turnaround point, the better off for you, because that's the more time that you've bought. All right, let's erase these and let's talk about another option here. This is going to be a deep water type operation, and we come up to a stream or a river and we notice that it's flowing pretty fast. If our gear is essentially waterproofable, let's say you've got everything in dry sacks, like you got max sacks and everything's in there, your gear is actually going to float when you get in the water with it. However, keep in mind, your basic ammunition loads and everything else can get pretty heavy, and you may be lucky to just achieve neutral buoyancy. So if everybody in your team is a swimmer and they feel pretty competent, you'll come up and you will commit to going upstream. And once you get in the stream, you're going to switch over and you're going to get your stuff set up as quickly as possible for buoyancy, and you're going to push out into the middle of the river, and we're going to float. If we're in Germany, we used to joke about that. My escape and evade plan was to get in the Rhine River and float all the way out to sea, or as wherever the end of it came to. What they're going to do is they're going to come up to this trail, and hopefully they're going to get lost going this way. And by the time they figure out that you have not gone that way, or that you have not crossed the river, you're going to want to make it look like you crossed the river going this way. Extra points if when you come up here and you cross over, you swim to the other side and you leave maybe some gear or something like that, some obvious sign that makes them think you got on this side and you escaped. What you don't want to do though is when you go back in is angle off into the river to indicate you went that way. Everything that you do needs to indicate you went this way. Nothing needs to indicate you went that way. All right, these are just some things. What you need to do, essentially, when you're trying to lose somebody that's following you, is try to think like they are. Try to understand that they're looking for your signs and they're trying to kind of guess what you're doing and what you're all about. That's why you need to put a little bit of confusion into the equation. But keep in mind, everything that you do to break contact is going to make you burn time as well. So it's kind of like in survival school. Yes, you can go dig up that tree root and you'll spend 3,000 calories to get that tree root dug out of the ground. And when you eat the whole thing, you'll get 1,000 calories. And that means you've lost 2,000 calories in getting that root. So you have to realize sometimes the amount of time spent doesn't always equal the amount of time that you gain. Folks, this has been the Maine Prepper. When we come back, we'll talk more about tracking, and we'll cover some other tricks and some other techniques to break contact. We'll also cover some things that you do and should look for when you are tracking somebody. And for that, we're going to get outside. I've been kind of stymied lately by incessant rain. It has rained 2 weeks in a row here now without ceasing. And today, this afternoon, has been the first break we've had. So goodness gracious, this place is going to wash into the ocean. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you back. Look forward to hearing your comments down below. Thank you again.